And welcome back. It's time for another edition of our book club with the Springfield Greene County Library. And joining me today is Zach Hollingshad. Good to see you. How are things?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so you've got 3 selections for me, and I'm always so interested to see what Zach's bringing. So this first one is called Butter.
Yeah, so Butter is about a journalist that is obsessed with a serial killer that has killed her mates by feeding them like really exquisite meals.
Okay.
So the book is about food, it's about the serial killer, it's also about the journalist's life and how in Japan they view women's weight in women. So it is super good.
Yeah.
Very descriptive.
Yeah, well, and I was gonna say for people that are interested in other like cultures, I guess, for lack of better phrasing there, like, is this something that you think they would find interesting? Like, does it really explore that more, you think?
Yeah, I think so. And especially for foodies like me, I mean, the food descriptions are, it will make you very hungry when you read it.
Yeah.
So.
What's something that maybe you learned or surprised you from reading it that, without, of course, giving something away that may kind of, impress people?
I would say just some of the dishes in there, which I'm kind of blanking on right now.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, a lot of the food dishes I wasn't familiar with, especially like the prep and everything of them. So.
Yeah, was the prep just like more intense than maybe what we're used to here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay,
so.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but then also for people who are interested, and we think about like international cuisine is such a big thing, right? And especially like even in Springfield, we're lucky to have such a strong kind of selection of cuisine. So do you think people will maybe learn more about the food aspect of maybe what to expect in Japan as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I get good,
Cool.
good different
Yeah.
perspectives. Yeah. Okay. So next up is Deep Cuts. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, so if you've read Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, this book is very similar in that aspect because it chronicles a relationship from the beginnings, which happened in college, to when they're adults, and it's all about music, and it's about the millennial era of music.
Okay.
So for me, I related a lot to it because it talks a lot about Interpol and Wilco and a lot of bands that I really like. But yeah, one of the people is a writer, the other is a musician, and like how their life changes over time and how it also comes back together.
Yeah. So. What do you think is something people will take away after reading it?
I think from reading a lot of the reviews and just, for me, I knew a lot of bands, but it's just like people will find new bands through it and reinvent their love of music again. So,
do you think that there's like a deeper appreciation created for these said musicians or bands from getting to learn more about their life stories? Because like we even think about that in other forms of media, like movies, right? Like for example, A Complete Unknown that just came out. Like I didn't know much about Bob Dylan, but after watching Timothy play him, I was like, wow, there's a lot of interesting things I would have never known.
Yeah, and that's what I think this book will bring a lot to the readers, and especially each chapter is named after a song, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that. Yeah. Okay, and then lastly we have Wanderlust. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wanderlust. So, do you like walking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this book is basically the history of walking.
Okay.
And it's not so much when you think of like books about walking, it's like, how do I walk?
Yeah.
How do I improve my life by walking?
Okay.
But this is partly that, but also like the history of walking and how our society is based on walking, like sidewalks, political parts of it. It's super interesting. But I also like where a writer takes something you would think would be like a boring topic, but also make it like super big and interesting.
Yeah,
so.
That's interesting. Okay, expand on that a little bit more for me. So like you said sidewalks and then talk about politics a little bit more too, but what other aspects of the walking kind of, I guess, topic that they're going off of does it kind of expand on?
I would say one of the bigger things for me, and I've always been a person that parks way far away in a parking lot because I like to have that time to think, and I think it's a lot about that too, is taking that time of walking and breathing and just understanding that walking is such an important part of our life.
Do you feel like it touches on maybe the the quality it brings to your life, or like the mental clarity it brings as well, perhaps?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that too. I'm like, I think about there's so much to be said for just a simple walk, whether it's, pacing around your house for a second, or, taking just a stroll around, wherever you live. I think there's so much mental clarity that comes. And sometimes it's almost just like taking a step outside and taking a breath. I think there's a lot of impact in that. Do you think the book kind of expands on that idea?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it talks about philosophers and politicians and just different people and how important walking was to their lives and is to our lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, real quick before we run out of time, any events you want to cover that the library's got coming up?
So I would say adult summer reading is a big thing for us right now. So come to the library, get your game board, read your 5 books, do your 5 activities, and get your big tote book. You carry all these books in.
I love it. And if people want to keep up with the Springfield Greene County Library, how do they do that?
Yeah, thelibrary.org.
Oh, my favorite website in the world.
For sure. I know, right?
Yeah, it's just so clever.
Yeah,
it's so good. Okay. Well, Zach, thank you so much for being here. We always appreciate it. You guys, go check out a book over at the library and get to reading. All right. Well, coming up here on Unscripted.